Welcome back to the Humble Rising podcast. I am your host, Adivi Vargas, and as 2024 comes to a close, I've been spending some time reflecting on the lessons I've learned this year, the moments and the experiences that have shaped me, and the intentions I want to carry forward into 2020. This year has been full of growth, be it professionally, personally, definitely spiritually. I left behind a career in corporate and my legal career to step fully into entrepreneurship. And that shift has taught me so much about who I am and what I am here on this earth to do. Since I left that job, I've had the best coaching clients. I had really awesome coaching clients before that because I had my business for 5 years on the side before I decided to take the leap into doing it full time. And this year, since I left that full time job, I've had amazing speaking opportunities on podcasts, at conferences, and for companies and organizations. I've also been privileged to contribute to or be featured in incredible publications like Oprah Daily and Forbes and Success Magazine. It's really been a whirlwind with highlights like sharing my knowledge on LinkedIn webinars, which I started to do and which I will do more consistently in 2025. I was running workshops and, of course, doubling down on being a mom to my 3 beautiful kids. But through it all, I've learned that it's not about doing more. It's really about doing what truly matters to you. And that's a lesson I hope resonates with you too. Recognize the wins that you've had this year, all the things that you did every single day, no matter how big or how small, and honor the choices that you've made that align with your values and what matters most in this season of your life. It's a message that I explore deeply in my book, Your Time to Rise, Unlearn Limiting Beliefs, Unlock Your Power, and Unleash Your Truest Self, which gets released on January 14th, 2025, and is already an Amazon bestseller, or if you're from Boston, bestseller. I am so grateful for your support and your encouragement and all of your pre-orders because we're still in the pre-order phase. The book comes out on January 14th. So it's amazing that the book is already an Amazon bestseller in 3 categories and a hot new release in 7 categories. It's amazing that that's happening about 1 month before the book is actually released. So please continue to share the book with friends, colleagues, and your teams, and basically anybody you know who you think would benefit from it. So today, I really want to build on that message by sharing the biggest lessons that I've learned, what I'm carrying into 2025, and my hopes for the year ahead. Are you ready? Let's do it. Lessons learned in 2024, and there were plenty. So I actually had to streamline and cut down the list here to get to a manageable number for this episode. The first lesson is all about, and this won't surprise you, the power of rest. So one of the most profound lessons I've learned, even more this year, especially this year, is that rest is really not a luxury. It's a necessity. After leaving my full-time job, I thought I could slow down and that would be enough. But the truth is, I didn't truly rest. I had been working on things like the book. I had been working on things. I was trying to get into certain publications, which required a lot of writing. And I was in this momentum. I was so afraid that if I stopped, I would lose those opportunities, or when 2025 came, I wouldn't be in the best position to capitalize on certain things I'd been working on. And so I decided, okay, well, I can't take a full break, meaning I can't do nothing. I have to continue with the things that I'm doing. But when I look back, I don't know how any of that would have turned out. I really don't. But when I look back, I do wish that I did it differently and that I really took a true break and I wasn't working on something during that time. I wish that I had taken the time to really rest, step back, really not do anything work related, give my brain time to truly reset. Because rest isn't just about taking breaks, it's about giving your mind and your body and your spirit the space to recalibrate. It's about giving yourself space. It's about stepping back to process and to heal and to allow yourself to simply be, like just to be. And this year really confirms for me personally that rest isn't something you earn after working hard. It's a fundamental part of being human, of being you. And that's why I talked about self-care and rest so damn much this year. I always say that I post messages and content, whether it's on LinkedIn or IG, but mostly LinkedIn, or even what I share on the podcast. I often say that I post the things that I also need to most hear. And one thing is for sure that without rest, for me, creativity stalls. My energy can wane, it can dip, and my clarity really does become elusive. So moving forward, I'm committing to rest as a more regular practice, not as an afterthought. And when I say rest, I mean rest, not taking time off of work and going to run errands, which is what I did in 2024. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to rest today. But then I just ended up going to do stuff that I need to do for the house or for the kids or for myself. That to me, I'm like, that doesn't count anymore. You have to be not doing those things. There's no more doing when you're resting. So no more. 2025, I'm taking my rest in addition to all of my rejuvenation. That's what I'm doing. The second lesson I learned is all about mastering my mindset. This doesn't mean I've mastered my mindset or mastered my mind. This is a journey. If there's one thing I've learned about entrepreneurship, though, it's that our greatest challenge often lies right here in our minds. My biggest obstacle in 2024, if I'm really honest, had nothing to do with anything external. It was my own mind. I was my own biggest obstacle in 2024. There were days when I poured everything into a new project or even like a marketing campaign, which you have to learn as an entrepreneur. You have to learn modern marketing and social media. You have to learn that stuff, especially if you want to scale your business at some point. But there were days that I poured everything into something new or learning something new or executing something new or an idea, and it just didn't work or it didn't yield the results I wanted or expected. And the negative thoughts would creep in. You're failing. You're a failure. What are you doing? You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. Or maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you're not cut out for this. And so those thoughts, I would have them, which are very similar to the thoughts I had when I wrote the book, when I was literally writing the book over the past year and a half or two, right? But here's what I had to remind myself of each and every time, like I had to remind myself of when I was writing the book, is that I don't have to believe everything I think. Thoughts are just that. They're thoughts. They aren't facts. And learning to continuously and consciously question those thoughts as I do new things I have not done before, and rewrite the negative narratives has been so incredibly helpful for me. It's what I had to do when I wrote the book, and I had to do the same thing. I do the same thing all the time now because I'm doing new things or I'm doing things that I don't have 15, 20 years of experience doing. So it can be really challenging. Now, when those voices pop up, like those unhelpful negative thoughts and voices come up for me, I remind myself that I am enough, that I am so capable, that I'm learning and that I'm growing and I'm giving all that I have, and I am right where I need to be. I am right where I am meant to be. This is where I'm supposed to be at this moment. This is the journey I'm supposed to be having at this moment. So, this practice of mastering my mindset is one that will be and will continue to be a journey for me as I explore and I experiment with things in 20. The third lesson I've learned is all about, and I don't know why there are balloons that just came across my screen. If you're listening to this on your podcast platform like Apple, Spotify, whatever it is, and you're not watching it on YouTube, because I also post these on YouTube, I'm recording on Zoom and balloons just popped up randomly in the middle of me talking. And I'm going to take that as a sign from the universe or God saying, yes, continue on your journey of mastering your mindset. I think the balloons were like a celebration of my realizing that I'm on this journey and that it's not going to end anytime soon and that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So I'm going to take that as a sign from the universe. So thank you. Thank you, universe, God, for the balloons in the middle of me recording this podcast episode. So the third lesson is about discipline. In entrepreneurship, and I would say in life, you can't wait for the right mood or the perfect wave of motivation to take action, because progress comes from showing up consistently. Even when you don't feel like it, it's something that I've had to stay on top of, and it's what I help my clients do too. It's doing the thing you said you were going to do and executing the steps you said you were going to execute, even when you are not in the mood and you don't feel like it. And I get it. Some days execution felt easy. Other days it was difficult. It was a grind, because you also get overwhelmed by all the things. Like you say, okay, I have this step I have to complete, but then you look forward and you say, oh, but I have all these other steps as well. And so it can get overwhelming. It can feel very much like a grind to even execute one step, even though you know it's just one. You can see that there are 5 more, and you can see that you still haven't reached, this top of this mountain. And so it can feel really challenging. But this year, I really, really understood the power of discipline and commitment in the way that I work and I live. And I know how powerful they are. It really is keeping yourself laser focused on the small, steady steps, like the small, steady actions, the email you send, the one post you created, the relationships you have nurtured, right? That one meeting you had, that one coffee chat that you set up in person with someone that you really care about and you want to continue nurturing that relationship. All of those things add up over time, and you're not going to necessarily know what comes from them. You won't necessarily know that in the near term, but you're focusing on, these are the small things that I can do every day. And these are small things today that can be really big things in the future, and being okay with that, not feeling overwhelmed by that, because I believe in the impact and I believe that one day things will come to fruition in the way that they need to come to fruition. So for me, this was a reminder to trust the process and focus on what I can control, which is my actions and doing things even when I don't feel like it. And to not wait until later to actually do them. Now, the fourth lesson learned is all about the power of outputs. So in a world that constantly demands more of us, more content, more ideas, more decisions, I often feel like, at home with my kids, who I love dearly, I feel like I'm overtouched, I'm over needed, I'm over called upon, all of the things. I'm definitely overstimulated half the time, especially on the weekend. But in a world that, and a home, especially if you're a parent or you're taking care of a parent, feeling continuously needed and feeling like the world is always asking something of us, including work, right? Including work, constantly asking something of us. I really learned the importance, and maybe I doubled down on it even more this year, The importance of creating space for outputs. It really started for me with journaling. So I've been journaling for a really long time. You all know that if you listen to this podcast and you follow me on LinkedIn or you're on my email list, you know that I'm a big journaler. But I never did it every single day. And for many of my clients, I don't do it every single day and I don't push that. I really do think journaling has to be your practice. You have to make it your own. I started doing it though almost every day. And it became so helpful for me. So now I'm taking my journaling to another level because I felt ready for that and felt like I needed it. And journaling became my way of emptying my mind and processing my thoughts. And it was always like that for me, but because I was doing it more consistently now and almost every day, it really helped me. We write slower than we think. So writing, especially if you're journaling, slows the mind down. And it slows you down, which so many of us need to do more of, me included. And so the slowing down is a practice, and journaling is one of those practices that helps you practice slowing down and getting a little bit more still when a lot of us, like, a lot of people find meditation really challenging because it forces you to be still, and oh my gosh, your brain freaks out. Why are we still? Because your body and your brain are so used to moving all of the time. It is very unfamiliar for your body and your brain, and they don't like it. So a lot of people find it challenging to be still. But you can eventually get there if you start practicing slowing down first, and journaling is a way to do that. And I really doubled down on that this year. And I realized how helpful it would have been for me if I had doubled down on it earlier. Breath work helped me move energy and emotions through my body, creating a release for the stress and the tension I was holding. I love 4-7-8 breathing. That's breathe in for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, do it 5 times. I put my hand on my heart. I put my one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly to calm myself down. It's almost like I give myself a hug when I need to pay attention to my body, get back into my body, be more aware of my body and my breath, especially if I'm having a moment of tension and I'm feeling like I'm getting overwhelmed. I do one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly, pay attention to my breathing, get back into my body, and just be more aware of my breath. And then I'll do 4-7-8 breathing, 5 rounds. And even if I don't do those rounds, those 5 rounds, I will always just try to stop and pay attention to my body and my breathing. The other thing I will say is exercise and movement, whether for me it was hot power yoga or Barry's boot camp or a walk, really helped to ground me physically and emotionally and spiritually. And these are practices that for me, they're not just routines anymore. They are how I take care of myself, like full stop. Well-being is one of my top 3 core values. Well, well-being is actually my number 1 core value, holistic well-being, right? Mind, body, and spirit. My practice of having outputs each day, so the journaling, the breath work, the moving, the exercising, all of those things helps me process what's happening in my life. And what's happening in your life is happening in your body. We hold things in our body. I'm sure you've heard of the book. And if you haven't, it's an amazing book called The Body Keeps the Score. It's about how trauma is held in the body. We hold stress in our bodies. And there is so much research out there on this, how chronic stress can lead to disease over time. And chronic stress can lead to disease later on in your life. How you live now will determine how you live when you're 80 or 90 years old. It will determine the quality of your life. And so for me, all the outputs I have really helps me process everything that's going on, even the stress I have, the thoughts I'm having. It helps me separate the noise from what's true for me and helps me create clarity when it feels like there are things that are happening that are more hectic and chaotic. Having outputs and practicing them every single day are really non-negotiables for me. And this year confirmed that. This year confirmed that I have to have these outputs every single day for myself, for me to function, for me to be at my best, for me to show up for myself and my kids and my clients and my speaking engagements. Because if I'm not at the right level I cannot give my best and give my all the way that I know I can in any engagement that I have. It's not going to be possible for me. So I have the practices that I have so that I can show up as 1000% the best at EV that I can show up as. Those are my lessons learned. There aren't many more. I think I wrote about 10. I'm sharing several with you here. But as I reflect on these lessons, here's what I know I'll be taking with me into the new year. Number one is knowing who I am. This year, I came to fully embrace who I am and what I am here to do, helping people transform their lives, helping them feel fulfilled and content with meaning, with purpose, with intention, and not staying on the hamster wheel, not staying stuck, not staying lost, not staying uncertain, and moving forward through that, through the messiness, because it's messy when you do that. This is not, you don't just say, okay, I'm stuck, I'm lost, I'm confused, I'm uncertain. I don't know, I'm at a crossroads, I'm at an inflection point. What I'm doing now isn't working for me, although it did work for me before. And then I'm just going to move forward and be content. That is not how it works. There is a messiness. And I love working with people in the messiness of it. Like that's where the work is. And that's what we have to be okay moving through. We have to be okay with the discomfort of moving through and in and deeper into the messiness. And I love helping people learn how to love how they live and work, meaning they have to go through some messiness and some change and some new habits and some new mindsets to make that happen. But helping people transform in these ways is my life purpose. The old stories I used to tell myself, like I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes, they don't hold me back anymore. And I don't believe those things anymore. Right? I know my gifts. I know my value. I know what I'm here to do. I know that I'm here to do extremely meaningful work, extremely impactful work. And that sense of myself and what I'm here to offer and what I'm here to give is something that I will carry with me into every space that I enter in 2025. Like 1000%. You can bet on that. The second thing that I am taking with me into 2025 is the trust that I have in my journey. When I lean into my purpose and do the work that I love, God shows up for me. The universe shows up for me. It's like God is saying, yes, this is what I sent you here to do. This is what I sent you here to do. So when he sees me, she, they, the universe sees me taking action, it's going to respond to my energy and be like, yes, this is what we're talking about. Here's some good, here's some love. Here you go. Yep. I'm going to give you some signs that you're on the right path. I'm going to give you some signs that you're on the right path. And also, I'm going to give you some signs that you don't want to go to the left. You want to go to the right. Right? But whether it's an unexpected opportunity or a kind message from someone saying how much something I've said or done has impacted them, or a client sharing how I helped them change their lives and that they didn't even know was possible until our work together, those remind me that I'm on the right path, that I'm on a purposeful path. So trusting the journey is a practice that I will continue in the new year, especially when it gets challenging and difficult, when things don't work or things don't work the way that I would have wanted them to. Just remembering I have to trust the process because I may get the end result, but not right now. And I might get an end result that doesn't look like how I thought it would look, but it looks a little different, but it's still really, really good. The third thing I'm carrying into 2025 is owning my story, owning my space, and owning who I am. So this year, similar to what I just shared, I learned to take up space more unapologetically, like more than ever before. You know, sometimes you're like, yeah, like I'm going to take up the space. I'm going to be unapologetic about it. I'm me and I'm here. And maybe you feel it, but you don't feel it in your bones. I feel it in my bones now. It's there. I feel the vibration every single time, more than ever before. That's where I am. And I'm living my purpose, so I feel more alive than ever. I feel more aligned. I feel like if I died tomorrow, I can say that I was doing the thing I was born to do, that I was on my way. And I'm more comfortable in my own skin. I've come to truly own who I am and what I offer. And I believe in my mission and my ability to complete it. That sense of self and that confidence, even amidst the moments of self-doubt and negative self-talk, is a gift that I'm grateful for. I don't know if I could have said that truly before like the latter half of this year. But that's the message, and that's something I'm going to carry forward into 2025, is that belief and that feeling in my bones that this is what I'm meant to do, and that this is me, this is my story, this is my space, and this is my journey. It's almost like I'm going to do all the work, but come what may, too. Right? Like whatever happens is going to happen. I don't determine any outcomes. I shape them. I have agency. I have control over certain things, but I don't control everything. So when I look ahead to 2025, my intention for 2025 is alignment and execution. I know I got two words of intention for 2025: alignment and execution. I want to stay deeply aligned with my purpose while staying committed to the discipline and consistency it takes to bring my vision to life and to bring my mission to life. This means that I'm going to have to continue the habits that fuel me, that help me process, to help give me more space mentally, emotionally, spiritually, which is the journaling that I mentioned, the breath work, movement, exercising, taking intentional time for rest, and continuing all the things and continuing spending time with the people who bring me the most joy. It means trusting myself more and showing up fully for the work that I know that I'm here to do. So 2025 is about honoring where I've been, embracing where I am, and stepping even more boldly into what's next. And I know 2025 is going to be a big year. Hello, the release of my book. So I'm very excited to see what's coming. I'm very, very excited to see what's coming. Now, as we close the chapter on 2024, I want to encourage you to take a moment to really reflect. What were your wins? What were some of the challenges you faced? And what lessons did you learn from them? What did this year teach you? What did it teach you? What are the stories and the mindsets and the behaviors and habits you're ready to leave behind? And what truths are you ready to claim for yourself in 2025? This is your time to step into the fullness of who you are. Why are you waiting? Not going to happen when you get older. It can happen now. You may not get older. We don't get to decide when we go. And look, people say, "Oh my gosh, why do you talk about death?" Because it's the one guarantee in life is you're going to pass on. It is a guarantee, and also a guarantee that you don't get to decide when that is. You don't. It's the ultimate unknown. It's the ultimate uncertainty. So you know that's true. That's a fact. Everyone is going to die at some point. That includes you and me. So why do we wait until later? I'll do it in 5 years. I'll do it in 10 years. Okay, I get it. If you're working for a goal, that's a really big goal. Maybe it's a big financial goal. I get why you put a plan in place. And so you say, okay, that's my 5-year plan. I totally get that. But you know what I'm talking about. It's okay, I'll plan that vacation later. Maybe I'll look into that later. Or maybe I'll call that person later. Or maybe I'll go for a girls' weekend later. Or maybe I'll ask for that later. Or I don't have time to do that right now. I don't have time to exercise right now. I don't even want to think about that right now. That's what I'm talking about. And if you resonate with what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying is true. But this is your time. This is your time to honor your growth, to rest when you need it, and to believe in your own power to create a life that aligns with your truth, that aligns with your values, and what matters most to you at this time in your life, in this season of your life. So as you look to 2025, listen, don't just set goals. They're important. Set intentions that come from your spirit, that come from your heart, that come from who you really are. Like, stop pretending. We have to stop pretending. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to live a fake life. And I'm not saying all of you do that. I'm saying, when you in interaction, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel right. Yeah, it's because it's kind of fake and it's pretending. And many people walk around, and this is why sometimes, the comparison game can really be harmful to you, is because so many people walk around pretending. I'm great. Things are great. Everything is good. Everything's good. But they're struggling. They're struggling, deeply struggling. And silently suffering. And we don't talk about it enough because, that's inappropriate, right? The idea that, that's inappropriate, that's unprofessional. I don't want to talk about my personal life. We do that And then we feel so isolated and alone and lonely because we think so and so over there has it together when they're suffering so deeply. They're just not talking about it. And maybe you have so many things that you're thinking through. You're trying to figure stuff out. Maybe you are suffering in silence in your own way and you see other people and they seem to have it together. So sometimes you compare where you are to the image of that person that you see. You compare where you really are to your perception of that person in their life, and it makes you feel worse. But you don't know because, and I'm telling you, because I talk to a lot of women, a lot of very high achieving women who are struggling, who say things like, I can't work like this anymore. I can't do things like this anymore. But you would never tell. You could never tell that. If you saw them at an event, would be like, what? She has it all together. Yes, the appearance is all together, but inside it doesn't feel like that. So I want you to set intentions from your heart, from your spirit. Trust that even the small, steady steps, they are going to carry you closer to a life that you envision. But you have to think about, what kind of life are you actually envisioning? What does it look like to be content, to be satisfied, to like what you do, to like how you do it, to like how you make decisions, to be calmer, to be more at peace, to be happier? What does that actually look like for you? What is the vision for your life? What is it? And 2025 is a piece of that. It's a piece of you moving towards that. So set your intentions for 2025 that is aligned with that. Do it. I'm telling you, it will change your life. Just that alone. Thank you for being here with me and for investing in yourself. Here's to a year of alignment, to a year of courage, to a year of commitment, discipline, and transformation. Keep showing up, keep trusting yourself, and keep trusting your journey. You've got this. I know you do. You can do this. And I can't wait to see all the amazing things you'll create and step into in 2025.